This is Brian and Brian. 2 years ago, they built and launched this wild property with just $100,000. So I made a video that estimated that they built a business worth $2.5 million. But the internet disagreed, which made the video go viral and the most viewed video on my channel. Today, we're revisiting those 4 cabins to see what they're really worth. The cabins are up for sale right now, so we're going to see how close or off I really was. Was this a good investment by the Bryans? How did they start this with relatively so little money? If you want to own a real estate portfolio, you need to learn how these 2 guys think. Now, I even entertained buying the property because when I ran my numbers over 2 years ago, this is how much I expected them to make. But there are 3 key reasons why I decided not to. And it's not because of price. There are no less than 5 different income streams on this property, with the potential of more because of the zoning. But we need to see what 2 years worth of data gives us for the actual value. Does it actually live up to the $2.5 million hype I created in my first video? But there's something that we can't forget this property has. It includes this cute little coffee roaster and cafe. By the way, I'm Kai and I'm an investor and developer where I build out properties similar to this, using containers, tiny homes, domes, earth homes, airstreams, tiny houses, you name it. For over 20 years, I've specialized in unique real estate and generating multiple income streams from one property. Mostly high-end unique rentals. And I live and breathe this stuff 24/7. I genuinely love it. Literally have 4 construction projects going on right now. All right, let's go check out these 4 cabins. Chapter 1. This coffee shop is the first of the 5 income streams, but it was the free land that was included behind the coffee shop that was the real game changer.
How come you always smile when I smile?
Because you have a nice smile.
So we just drove about an hour and a half outside of Portland, Oregon to a little town called Moser, which is along the Columbia River Gorge Scenic Highway, and just a short drive to one of the winter and summer playgrounds of the Pacific Northwest, Mount Hood and Trillium Lake. Now, this stretch of road is one of the most driven stretches of roads in the US.
It gets millions? That doesn't sound right. Really?
Yeah, millions. It's like a big road tripping
But
area.
it's just so remote.
Yeah, it is, kinda. It is kind of like in the middle of nowhere, but I'm telling you, like Mount Hood and the area draws in a lot of people. And we just drove here from Portland. I think we went by like 4 or 5 state parks on that hour and a half drive. So, but you know what? We'll look into it. I'll pull it up on Google later and I'll show it to you. But I'm pretty sure it's like probably 2 or 3 million people driving through this area. We're like, oh, the little kitty! Oh. Show the kitty.
I have to like zoom in
Oh,
quick.
it looks like Hera.
It does.
Oh, it looks
Oh.
Okay, back to me.
Back to me.
Hey, look, they even got shipping containers.
Okay.
I didn't know they had shipping containers.
Yeah, it's new.
Yeah, that wasn't here last time. Oh, I bet you they're gonna build out.
Like either food or band things.
No, I think they were trying to build out an actual container
Oh, really?
place. Yeah. Oh, look at that.
Oh, it's cute.
It's kind of cool. Come in here real quick.
It's really cute.
So I'm pretty bold, but not so bold as to go and ask the owner how much they really make. Therefore, we're doing some scout work. But to do that, we need to order something and sit and wait. Can I do an iced chai tea, please? What do you want, baby?
Can I do a matcha tea latte, please?
So in about an hour, we saw 13 people come through the door and order approximately $83 worth of coffee, bagels, and scones. I was sitting pretty close, so I could almost hear everything. But we need more data than number of people and average ticket size. That's why for the last hour, I was looking up county information and historicals on the property itself. This will help us figure out the calculations later in this video. Thank you.
Have a good day.
Now we'll save the data for the studio work later on and head up to the cabins. So we just spent an hour inside the cafe and I counted up all the people that are coming in and out for the last hour. Actually, an hour and like 5 hour, 10 minutes. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be able to take that and we can extrapolate it and kind of figure out roughly the unit economics of the property or the unit economics of the coffee shop and see how much they actually make. But let's walk around real quick because we do see some changes here, but I don't see the music venue that they talked about. So let's walk around. Chapter 2. These are the other 4 income streams on the property. But at first sight, I don't think the cabins are performing as well as the Bryans had expected. Just 1 second. If you're liking these cabins and thinking about building, remodeling, or redesigning a home, I've got something for you. I'm actually launching Moment Studios, an architectural and interior designing company. Now, if you've watched my channel for any length of time, you've seen probably one of my projects or one of our Land Hacker members' projects and the quality and the type of work that we do. Now, we haven't officially launched to the public yet, but we're starting to fill a few spots outside of our existing community to take on new and exciting projects like the cabins, tiny houses, domes, containers, and earth homes that you've seen on my channel. But don't think that we only specialize in hyper uniques. If you've got an idea for a minimalist cabin or a more traditional structure, we can do that too. Now, Moment Studios specializes in creating focal points, those wow moments that makes a space truly feel extraordinary. With over 20 years of real estate and design experience, I'm opening up our services to help bring your vision to life. From site plans to furniture selection to full architectural designs, we're here to help make it happen. So book a free call with my calendar link down below and let's get started. We can design something amazing together. You know what the tough thing is about this? Is that normally during the holidays, places usually are full, and these right now are empty.
Yeah.
We walked around the whole property looking, and I couldn't find it. Then we walked around the whole block, but we still didn't see it. Now, I think the plans changed somewhere along the way. When we stayed here back in 2022, one of the Bryans had told us that they had a plan to build out this whole event venue, food cart area for music, beer garden, just a bunch of other ways of attracting a crowd and creating multiple income streams. I just don't see any of that here. All right, let's go back to the car because it's kind of cold outside. Let's go back to the car, let's pull up some numbers, and then I'm gonna send Brian a quick message and see where everything's at, okay? So what I decided to do is to send Brian a quick message through Airbnb and see what he has to say. Hopefully he gets back to us today so we can include it in the video. Okay, when they launched everything in 2022, we thought it was a pretty neat idea to have 4 minimalist Scandinavian cabins here along the Columbia River. But then after some research and speaking to the owner, Brian, we realized they initially bought the rundown cafe and this was just extra raw land that was included in the purchase, approximately a 1/4 acre. This is where things get interesting. Here's the timeline. 2019, bought the old coffee shop and began to fix it up to reopen it. Same year, split the lot and got the county and community's blessing to build a hotel. 2019, same exact year, they were busy, bought all the materials. 2020, stuff happened, long delay. 2020, they continued with construction, doing a lot of the work themselves, and then by 2021, they completed and then launched their hotel in 2022. And as of today, it's up for sale. Now, here's the thing. I know that they were planning on adding an event venue and food cart area when I was here last, so something must have happened that prevented that, or plans shifted. Now, this is really important for us to understand to help calculate the worth of this place. So we just walked around the whole place, and I didn't see the venue, the food cart area, or anything. We saw like something that's what we're pointing out. We see this, we're on the back side of the shipping container where it's like a little patio seating area, but we don't see the actual food cart or music venue that they're talking about. And that's kind of like a big deal. So I'm gonna shoot him a quick message. Oh, Brian's a good host. Here he got back to me. But before we read his message, let me give you a quick tour of the property and the cabins. The entire property is just under an acre, with the 4 cabins sitting on just about a quarter acre. The 4 cabins are designed around the modern minimalist Scandinavian style. They're all identical, the same floor plan, except 2 are mirrored versions. This makes it easier and cheaper to build, but it also reveals a really big issue too that I think that has caused to the sale. Not enough variability. Each has floor-to-ceiling windows, semi-private deck, and access to a fire pit. And as you can see, they're all exactly the same. But can you guess one of the biggest design flaws? No privacy or unique form factor. Despite the solid construction, this is what you see from the common space and the trail just outside of the cabins. Everything is clustered in the back. We actually even used the wrong fire pit the very first time Sarah and I stayed here because they're just all lined up in a row.
I don't think that's ours.
Oh, well.
Sat in the wrong one.
Oops.
Sit in the right one.
But overall, great maintenance-free native landscaping, and again, very good construction. Okay, let's see what Brian wrote back to us. Okay. So we were in the food cart area, and there is live music in the summertime. That makes more sense, but that area was super small. We just thought it was an outdoor seating area for the cafe itself. So at this point in time, it was pretty cold outside. It's like 40 degrees Fahrenheit. So we decided to go back to the car, whip out the MacBook, and start pulling up our data aggregators and dig into the past 2 years of data on the 4 cabins. Average occupancy, average annual gross, and the peak and low seasons. And I'm a little bit surprised, but not totally. We went and got some lunch in Hood River and just got back. Now, let's take a look at some of the data and information that we found out today. From my talk with Brian in 2022, we know that we estimated approximately $500,000 in construction for the 4 cabins and another $450,000 for the coffee shop and the land. That's our cost basis, $950,000. You're wondering, just like me, how the heck did they build it so cheap? This is why builders like to build the same structure in high density, but this causes all of its own issues that we can see with the 4 cabins. However, one of the big benefits when you build something like this, you're only paying for the horizontal and dirt work once. Other than the structures themselves, everything from utilities, road, excavation can be treated almost as if you're building just a single-family home. That and the Bryans purchased all of their materials literally a few months before the global shutdown of 2020. Think of 2019 prices. It also helped that he was able to do some of the work as well when labor was at a huge shortage. Using our data aggregator, we're able to see exactly how each cabin has performed over the past 2 years. But gross revenues, they look a bit lower than what I estimated in 2022. We see cabins 4, cabins 1. We scroll down, we see cabins 3 right here. Originally, I estimated $210,000 for the year, approximately a $50,000 difference. Let's take out some assumed expenses of operating the cabins. I just created a spreadsheet to help calculate the unit economics of the property. We've got monthly, and then we've got annual. Once we take everything out, we're looking at pre-tax profits, PTP, of approximately $8,000 a month or $96,000 for the year. Once we apply a reasonable 7% cap rate, I mean, it's not that bad. I still probably won't buy it at this price. But after looking at this, there's a hidden expense in here. After digging into the listing, I don't think that they're calculating in. Can you see what it is? Property management. I'm 95% sure that they're self-managing this property at this moment in time. Just based off how I see how the coffee shop is ran, me running and bumping into Brian, and then even seeing this listing, which I believe is being listed by his wife. This place seems very much as they're doing it themselves, which there's nothing wrong with that. It's actually really highly encouraged. But to sell this as a commercial property with a cap rate, there needs to be a property management or some sort of management fee baked into the expenses. You can't remove that large expense and then calculate the value off of that. I mean, you can, it just won't be fully accurate. But even after doing all of this, we still need to add in the value of the coffee shop. Only then will it show us a more accurate picture of the Bryans' return. Chapter 3. They'll still make money, but not as much as they were hoping. So, numbers. I won't bore you with the details of how I ran what I call the unit economics, but you're welcome to watch my free training on how I do this for businesses and rentals. Link is just down in the description to join our free community where you have access to all my training videos. This is what I documented sitting in the shop for about an hour. Now, I then looked up the hours and days that they're open and applied a discount or premium depending on peak and shoulder hours. You can see here, I have peak from 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 10, all the way to 2 p.m. They're usually only open till 3. And I applied the discount or the premium right here. And that gives us the gross revenues per hour per day, which is approximately $556 per day. This gave us the estimated gross revenues for the coffee shop. Now, again, assumptions were made on expenses looking at national averages and talking to friends in the restaurant and cafe business. This gave us the gross revenues of $202,000 and then pre-tax profits right here of $62,000. I then am going to ask my friend Kathy, ChatGPT, on what a fair market cap rate is for that area for a coffee shop. Can you give me a fair cap rate for a small coffee shop in a rural town in Oregon?
In rural Oregon, the cap rate for a small coffee shop generally falls around 6.05% on average. However, this can vary based on specific local market conditions. It's always a good idea to consult with a local real estate expert for the most accurate assessment.
Yeah, okay. Thanks, Kathy. I don't think that's accurate. 6.05% cap rate for a coffee shop is wild, especially in a rural area. I mean, just to give you an idea, let's take a look at this real quick. So let's say that we do 6.05%. It'd give it a valuation of nearly the same of the cabins, which is possible, plausible. But after doing a little bit of deeper research and digging into market comps, it's actually going to be closer to 8.5% to 9%. Let's just say 9% for right now, which gives us a value of approximately just shy of $700,000, $690,000. Now, the cabins. Now, the past 2 years, they've made approximately $160,000 in gross revenues. I estimated approximately $96,000 in pre-tax profits. Again, after talking to Kathy, I don't really trust her numbers. But let's say that we give them a 7% cap rate. That's fairly standard for a hotel or boutique hotel in the rural areas. I think it can even go up as high as 8.5%, maybe even 9% again. But we'll give them 7% for the benefit of the doubt right now. And that gives us, approximately $1.37 million valuation. For a combined total, if we add the two together, $2.06 million. Their estimated cost basis was around $1 million. So after legal fees, closing, agents, all that fun stuff, they're gonna have some money left over, a couple to several $100,000. That doesn't include the 5 years of cash flows too, but probably not the return that they were looking for considering how much work they put into this property. But I think I know where things went wrong. Chapter 4. There are 3 reasons why I won't buy. So my calculations in my first video was a bit off. But if the cap rates had held similar to where they were in 2022, the value range for the entire property estimated was between 2.5 to 3 million instead of the calculated 2.06 million of today. Here's where I think I straightened my assumptions. This area has some wild properties generating a lot of revenues despite being in a relatively small and remote location. I used these in my original comp analysis. Here's a great little stone hobbit home just a few miles away, and then just across the river is there's this amazing church-like A-frame. However, those were not fair comparisons, even if the 4 cabins are considered to be in the top 5% today. The cabins I used for the comp analysis are more experiential stays with very strong, unique offerings, but the 4 Scandinavian cabins don't really offer that. This is the big reason why I'm passing on buying this property. These are the 3 critical reasons for my decision. First, they went with the fad design that was popular at the time, minimalist Scandinavian. Fads come and go quickly, and quite honestly, the market is flooded with these types of spaces. It doesn't feel as special to guests anymore. 2, they focused on scalability and putting down as many doors as possible. But these 4 doors perform at the same level as this 1 door just a few minutes away. How come? They got the view, deck, floor-to-ceiling windows, fire pit, but everything feels like a checklist item. And because it was just a box to check, they're all exactly the same with very little, if any, differentiation, and perhaps the biggest faux pas, no privacy. The fire pit and deck areas are completely open to all other guests to see from their cabins and outdoor spaces. When we stayed here last, we could hear everything the cabin next door was doing. Music, laughter, walking in and out and talking. When people pay a premium for a 1-bedroom getaway, $250, $300+ a night, Sight, sound, and smell are critical to a phenomenal experience. Scaling like a hotel can come off a bit soulless. And then number 3, no differentiating factor results in self-cannibalism. Aside from being 8 feet apart from each other, they're all the same exact design. This can actually work in very high traffic areas where attracting guests is not an issue. Think about state parks, national parks. But that's not what it's like in Moser, Oregon. There's a consistent but very small stream of travelers coming through this area. And those folks that choose to stay in this particular area are divided across 4 cabins that look identical. There's no reason for them to choose one over the other, or to come back for a new or fresh experience. This is why nearby cabins offering a unique experience can outperform all 4 cabins combined. The challenge of this property is inherently baked into how it was designed and constructed. It may be possible with some strategic landscaping and major interior design work to create spaces that feel more alive rather than a standard hotel. But that could take a lot of additional resources after purchasing it. Chapter 5. Up for sale. So the Bryans listed the 4 cabins for sale at $2 million, literally 2 years to the month after I came and stayed. Very close to the bottom end of my original estimate. But they've had a couple of price cuts, and now it's for sale at $1.65 million. In their listing, they're indicating a 7.3 cap rate for their property, which means that their NOI, their net operating income, is calculating closer to $121,000 a year. Now that's not too far off from my higher end original estimate of $178,000 a year. I also assumed they'd use a 7% cap rate, so I wasn't too far off from there either. But that means that their margins are around 75%, which is absolutely wild if true. I actually think it's higher than it really is because the place is self-managed and they're not including property management fees, which should definitely be in there. If you include that, it would significantly reduce the value of the project. Now, I love real estate, especially unique projects and properties like this. And I think if it weren't for the economy that we're in right now, which is just such a high degree of uncertainty, I still stand by my original estimate of $2 to $2.5 million valuation. But there are definitely market factors and business decisions that cause this to be valued lower than expected. I find this stuff fascinating and so interesting, and for the record, I think the Bryans did wonderfully, especially for their first really big project like this. They did a great job executing on their vision and finding a creative way to do that with land and an existing coffee shop. But for me, I really see the value closer to the low 1 million, 1.2 to 1.3. And the main reason behind it is because there's not enough variability between the cabins and they haven't factored in property management costs. Now, every day, my team and I are helping others do something similar with a little more foresight and guidance to produce some absolutely incredible and wild properties, like Nathan in Ohio, who's netting over $10,000 a month with 3 cabins for his very first project, Brian with an insane view over in northern Georgia with 3 incredible cabins, or Eder with his sanctuary oases in Hill Country, Texas. Now, if you'd like to learn more about finding the right properties to create the right income streams, book a time with me and my team or join our free community to start watching our training and workshop videos. See you in the next one.